Retired Professor Razvan Mossel translates books and relics for the Margrave University in an effort to keep busy. But after reading an ancient clay-bound book, he learns the hidden potential within the mind and body. Realizing the dangers of such powers in the wrong hands, he takes it upon himself to protect the world from such knowledge, and embarks on a journey to seek out its origin. A journey that will send him through time and space, and test his morality in a world broken by the same powers. We got another fantasy. This one's a little bit different though. Check it out.
I am the
What's going on, guys? Alec the author here. Thank you very much for joining me for episode 3 in my indie author book review series, Alec Wants to Read Your Book. I put out the call on social media for indie authors to share their books with me so that I could read them and review them. The response has just been through the roof. I think the list right now is over 430 books. We've got more than a year's worth of work ahead of us. But I couldn't be more excited. Honestly, I just love reading books, so the list can't get too long for me. So if you want to submit your book for this series, please do so. Follow any of my social media. The links will be down in the description below. Get in contact with me. Let me know the title. Let me know how I can get a copy, and I will be happy to read and review your book for you. Today, we are looking at a fantasy novel called The Wandering Sage by A.C. Nystrom. This book is a little different than other fantasy novels that I've read, and fantasy is a genre that I have obviously delved deep into. I mean, look at me. I like fantasy. So we're going to take a look at this one. I'm going to rate this for you. I have several categories that I rate these books on. I will give them a score of 0 to 5 in each of those categories. And at the end, I will give you an overall score based on not just the previous scores, but also my actual opinion on the book. For the fantasy genre, those categories are the cover, the writing, the characters, the genre, the spice level, the magic system, and then the overall score. First of all, as always, we start with the cover. I actually genuinely like the art on this cover. It's very beautiful. The forced perspective that you get on this cover as well is really nice. It looks ethereal, it looks dreamy, it looks unnatural even, with like the broken statue in the background and the castle beyond that, and then you have this big giant blue moon up there, and then you have the little sage guy out in front. It definitely tells you what you're going to be reading. This is a fantasy novel, right down to the dude in like the classic wizard's hat. I'm gonna say that the only critique I have about the cover is the same issue I've had with a few books now. The font is not great. I would have loved something a little bit more in that kind of ethereal-ish type vein here. The text just kind of like it pops, but not in the right way. Like, it isn't in a way that makes me want to open the book and read it. It feels very bleh. But the art itself is fabulous. I mean, even if you didn't have the font on there, I would be opening this book up just to see what's going on the inside, because the art is so pretty. So for that, the cover's getting a 4 out of 5. Let's move on to the writing. Technically, very sound writing. It's written in a way that's very easy to read, very easy to follow along. This is also not a particularly long book, so it's a very enjoyable experience to be able to read something that's easy to read for any minds, if that makes sense. The fight scenes and stuff like that, the action sequences in the book are very well paced, very good. I enjoyed them very much. The pacing does become a little bit hit or miss to me, like some sections are just kind of slow. We almost hit that Tolkien-esque type thing where we're describing the moss on the rock on the road that the characters are walking on. Like I said, the book is actually fairly short, so it's a quick read, and the writing lends very well to that. Writing, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Well done. Our characters. I do like the main character, Razvan. He's fun to read. He is fun to get into his mind, especially because when you first start reading the book, and while the whole book is in third person, you do kind of get this feeling that you're reading from a perspective of an elderly man. It's difficult to describe, but he's a cool character, and his arc is interesting in the sense of like it goes from this extremely elderly man that could probably keel over at any moment to this unstoppable force of nature. I will say that to me, the characters feel just a weensy bit shallow. The side characters are just kind of there. There are some that kind of matter a little bit more later on in the story, like as you get further to the end there. But in the beginning, like, you know, he has like a housekeeper who's mentioned a couple of times, and then you have his like coachman that's mentioned, and then some of the first people he meets when he does travel to the other plane of existence are just kind of there. And then some of that may be intentional because this is the first book in a series. So I believe that we're going to get a little further in depth into some of the other characters that we meet towards the end of this book. But for this one particularly, characters is getting a 3 out of 5, just because I found them to be a little shallow. And also, like, I have a problem with main characters that are overly powerful. In a way, Razvan almost feels like a walking Deus Ex Machina. Anytime he gets into anything that would be dangerous, he just kind of shrugs it off with something. Like he will just have a power that can counter it, or he's just too strong, or he's just too godlike. That's definitely intentional because it's supposed to convey that these powers are something that probably shouldn't be in the wrong hands. I like my characters, especially my main characters, to have some flaws, have some weaknesses. Razvan doesn't feel like he has any weaknesses towards the end of the book. He's just an unstoppable god. So 3 out of 5 for characters. Middle of the road, the genre. 5 out of 5, no complaints here. This is a fantasy book. I do like that the author has used some like actual our world metaphysical science in this book. Like the way that Razvan travels between worlds is by like folding space-time, you know, very E equals MC squared. So there's some like cool tidbits of our real plane of existence in this novel. Very dope. Very much like 5 out of 5. Good work in the genre. Now, the spice level. It's another none. And that's okay. This book didn't need it. And in fact, it fits because Razvan is not a character that can be affected by those kinds of things. Like I said, he is basically God. So he is not tempted away by anything. There's one scene that does mention sex, but there are no further descriptions. It is very much a let's go up to the bedroom and then the fade to black. So not spicy at all, but doesn't need it, and that is not the purpose here. So it is not going to count against anything. No spice. The magic system. This is a category that is completely unique to fantasy books with magic. Identifying and creating a really cool and unique magic system sets your fantasy book apart from the rest. This is my first like 5 out of 5 all day long magic system. It is unique, but it is also grounded in our world type practices. Like I mentioned, yoga, Tai Chi, anything that like Buddhism that talks about opening your chakras and things like that. That's how this magic system feels. And it's kind of like a fantasy version of if you practiced yoga every day, multiple hours a day, and became enlightened. This is the kind of creature that you would become, this unstoppable god. The cool thing about this magic system too is that because of that kind of real world connection, it gives the reader a way to connect with the story, especially if they practice things like yoga. My wife and I do yoga, and so like doing our breathing exercises and things like that, I could easily picture what he was describing in this book when Razvan was learning this magic. The magic system is by far my favorite part of this novel, hands down. Unique, somehow still grounded in reality. Love it. 5 out of 5. Perfect magic system. So calculating all that up, let's get on to the overall rating for this book. I am giving The Wandering Sage a 4 out of 5. I've done a lot of 4 out of 5s, but you know what? That one's going to be very popular. I mean, these books are good, guys. What can I say? They're good. And this one is no different. I have my things that I don't like about it that I talked about before, like the characters being kind of shallow, the pacing being a little bit rough, but the magic system and the world building is so clean and so unique and so well done. I can't give this thing any lower than a 4. I really can't. It's a quick read. It's an enjoyable read. It sets things up nicely for follow-up books, and I do know from the author themselves that there are more books in this series. There's a second one that's out, third one that's coming out, I believe. So it's a good time to pick up a copy of this book, read it, enjoy the story, enjoy that magic system, because that is chef's kiss. Chef's kiss on the magic system. So The Wandering Sage by AC Nystrom, 4 out of 5 overall rating. Good recommended book from me. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video here. Thank you again, AC, for submitting your book to be reviewed by me. If you enjoyed this, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, maybe ring the little bell so that way you don't miss any of these reviews. Currently, I'm on pace to do about 2 to 3 of these reviews a week, so you're not going to want to miss them. I'm going to fill you guys' to be read lists just like mine has been filled. Just want to take a quick second to say a special thank you to my patrons over at patreon.com/AlecTheAuthor. These are the people that grease the wheels that make this engine go. Without my patrons, I really wouldn't be able to do any of this, so thank you guys, thank you. If you want to get on this list, you can definitely do that. There's a link down in the description below for patreon.com/AlecTheAuthor. There, not only will you be supporting the channel and support what I do, but you also have a chance to get yourself some sweet, sweet rewards. Not just based on my own work and my own writing, but also for my second channel, the ones that bump back, which is my mythology, folklore, and legends channel here on YouTube. Check that one out too, especially if you like spooky. So check it out, earn yourself some sweet rewards today, and support the channel while doing it. Thank you again, AC, for submitting your book. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other. I want to read your book.